No way it's black screen, right? Just tripping. Interesting. Okay, there I am. There I am. All right, so I'm just going to get into this. There's nobody here right now. If you're seeing this after the fact, I'm just going to go ahead and get into this. We're not really going to waste any time here. Other videos I want to make, like to work out and do some other stuff. So go ahead and get this over so you can continue watching football and doing your thing, and I can keep doing my thing. So obviously here reacting to the Colts-Texans game. If you were here during the game, you know a lot of what we're going to talk about. It was just, I don't even know where to start, man. I mean, shout out to the defense for trying, man. Like, and how often do you say that with this team? But shout out to the defense for trying. Offense really just didn't give the defense an opportunity in this game. Sitting here going looking at time of possession. 35-20 to 24-40. We were on the downside of that. I mean, we end up with 2 turnovers. One of them was there at the end of the game when, I mean, how can you not block at the end of the game, man? They overloaded one side of the line of scrimmage. Why don't you just how are we not blocking that? And how are we allowing that to happen? I mean, good on D'Amico Ryans. He said, okay, whichever side they want to load their receivers on, that's the side we're going to load our pass rush on, so that the quarterback can't roll that way and throw the ball to him. He's going to have to throw it from across the field over to there. Anthony still has the arm to do it. I don't know why he didn't let it fly. Just throw a moon ball and let it fly. Yeah, the game. Sco, appreciate you stopping by, brother. Everybody else coming in here, appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me after the game. The second quarter cost us so much. In the second quarter, we had minus 13 yards of total offense. Now, in the second quarter, we gave up 14 points. The whole game. You think about the entire game, the other 3 quarters combined. Without that, we win 20-9. We gave up a field goal in the first quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. But because the offense and defense were so bad in the second quarter, we lost this game by 3 points. Ours just didn't give us enough to win the game. That's that. Yeah, and honestly, that's that, man. Offense just didn't get the job done. Which is the opposite of what we've been saying. Sitting here, and again, you know, for what Gus was doing in the second quarter, like, he gets the blame for that. But offensively, this was, and we've had some ugly games, especially last year with Gardner Minshew as our quarterback. There were some ugly games, and we still found a way to put up 20 points. But today was just ugly in general for the offense. This is probably the worst game that Shane has called for the Colts. Probably the worst game he's called in his career, and he's been worse this year. People are saying, you know, looking at the regression from AR and talking about, oh, he's regressing. I think there's been a regression from Shane Steichen, and that is affecting the entire offense. And people will say, no, that's not the case because, you know, Joe Flacco came in and scored 34 points against the Jaguars. Jaguars have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Joe Flacco for the games that he played, like it's not like the offense was incredible, with Joe Flacco. It's just, it works better because he's a veteran player. We'd rather him be in there because it makes us feel better. We knew AR was going to have to go through some really ugly times as he continues to develop, but what I talked about in the pregame preview, and if, again, you probably heard me talk about this if you were in the, watching the game with us here, but in my pregame preview, man, I can't talk about this enough. You have to run the ball. We needed to run the ball 35 to 40 times. Looking here, we had 26 rushing attempts. So coming into this game, I told you guys, if we run the ball between 35 and 40 times, we'll probably win, right? Run the ball 35 to 40 times, throw the ball anywhere between 20 and 25 times, we'll win the game. So what do? We have 63 total plays, and we ran the ball 26 times. Anthony Richardson throws the ball 32 times. What are we doing? I don't care if they put 12 men in the box. Extra man on the field, put them all in the box. I don't care. You have Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, run the damn ball. That is a saying for the Colts. There's memorabilia with RTDB on it. Run the ball. You have why are we paying Jonathan Taylor? Like, we should have just drafted, let Jonathan Taylor go somewhere else or after this season or after last season, right? Finish out his contract, go somewhere else, and just draft Braylon Allen. Why we got Jonathan Taylor if we're just not going to use him? Best player on the team comes back, we're just not going to use him. Like, what are we doing offensively to where we're saying, hey, Anthony Richardson, we know your completion percentage through your first 9 games is like 53%. This season he was at like 48%. But hey, why not? Let's just go ahead and throw the ball 32 times. Okay, like, I understand the thinking, like, because of some of the players that they had out, right? You wanted to take advantage of some of the players that they had out. Anthony doesn't know how to go for the check down. Until he develops that, you can't pass the ball any more than 20 times in a game. If we lose, if we start getting blown out by 80, it doesn't matter. You have to run the ball. You paid Jonathan Taylor, run the ball. You paid all these offensive linemen, run the ball. It's simple, man. It's really a simple formula to be able to win football games. Run the ball. Okay? Oh, yeah. So, looking through the numbers, right? We watched the game. It was an ugly game. If you start looking at the numbers, Texans had 21 first downs. We had 17. We were 2 for 13 on third down. They were 4 for 13 on third down. But we were 2 for 2 on fourth down. Sorry, there's a clip playing here. But yeah, 2 for 2 on fourth down. So overall, between third and fourth, we were 4 for 15. Total plays, 68 to 63. But we just don't take enough time off the clock. When we run the offense with Anthony, again, we got outdone by 10 minutes of possession time in this game, and we only ran 5 less plays. Total yards, 363 to 303. It's not like, in a lot of ways, the Texans, beat us in this game, right? They beat us in a lot of different categories, but it's not like we got blown out, which shows on the scoreboard. We only lost by 3 points. But and I feel like a broken record. I'm getting tired of saying it. I know you guys have to be getting tired of hearing it. You have to execute. Just execute. And just execute. First play of the game. Perfect pass by Anthony Richardson, but Michael Pittman Jr. decided to not be a regular wide receiver. He's just going to stay right. I turned. I'm going to stay right here. Ball's going to get to me. And I don't know what they're teaching wide receivers now. When I was growing up, wide receivers were taught to go to the ball. You have to go to the ball. Okay, defense is see ball, get ball. You have to go back to the ball because that's what the defense is doing. They're seeing the ball coming out. They're going for it. You have to, as a wide receiver in the NFL, balls out, you have to work towards the ball if you're on a comeback route or a slam route, right? If you have a guy in your hip pocket, come back to the ball as much as you can. And Anthony Richardson didn't get that help. Now, A.D. Mitchell. Okay? A.D. Mitchell on the sideline. Perfect pass by Anthony Richardson. Maybe a little too far outside, but NFL receivers make that catch. Okay? And just like I was talking about on the stream with Anthony Richardson, like, this isn't college, man. It's not the same rules. It's not 1 foot in bounds and I score a touchdown. AD has to know where he is on the field, and he has to keep both feet in bounds. That was a good ball by Anthony. And it was a good catch by AD. He just didn't keep his feet in. You have to have the sideline presence to keep your feet in. And again, there were some really good balls by Anthony in this game. His completion percentage is terrible with 10 for 32. But some of it, good defense by Texans. They had, that's just going to happen. Number 4 had like 5 pass deflections. But again, some of it is Anthony's decision. For all the good passes he made, like, yeah, you have these guys, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", guys that you're trying to throw the ball up to. But you have to know when not. You can't just always do that. You can't, because Alec Pierce did it a couple times. Like, you can't just always expect these guys to do that. And Anthony's just throwing it up and hoping they make a play. Like, they're on the drive where actually it was the play Anthony got sacked when we were coming up on the 2-minute warning. Jonathan Taylor leaked out of the backfield all by himself. And Anthony being Anthony, is just looking down the field. Just dump it off to your absolute star of a running back, man, and let him do his thing. Dump it down to the running back. Right? Like, I just don't understand. Like, what is the messaging? That's what I want to know. What is the messaging to AR for him to only go downfield? At what point are we going to say, hey, man, look at this guy wide open 3 yards down the field. This guy's wide open at the line of scrimmage. Let's live to fight another day. It's first down and we're throwing the ball. Hey, let's just get an easy 3-4 yards. This is the way it was explained to me a long time ago. You get 3 yards on first down, you're okay, because then you get 3 yards on second down, and all of a sudden you only have 4 yards for a first down. You get 3 yards on third down, guess what? You have 1 yard to go on fourth down. If you can do that consistently and be able to march down, like, the defenses are going to cheat up because of Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, and they're going to play back because Anthony Richardson's arm, right? So the way they're scheming us up, and this is, again, part of the coaching. Shane just has to figure it out. Like, this is how teams are playing us. We have to be able to make it work with what we're doing. We have to be able to get guys sideline to sideline and stretch the defense out while also stressing the defense in the middle of the field, keeping them honest. And that's just not what we're doing. Coaching, I've stuck up for the coaching for so long. And I think last year, Shane Steichen, to win 9 games, all the injuries we had, Gardner Minshew as the quarterback. Last year, Shane did an incredible job. This year, Shane has taken a step back. He's not evolving. The offense is getting worse. And they're doing a bad job handling Anthony Richardson. And that's just the simple fact of the matter. You have a young quarterback that I'm trying to stick up for at all costs. And I feel like the coaching is failing him. Because how are we not seeing the simple things getting better? Is it Anthony's fault? I see Anthony, it talks about the drive to get better all the time. And I honestly believe that that's the thing. I think, part of it, again, it's experience. Being able to stay on the field, right? Getting the hip injury was a pretty massive deal, in my opinion. I think he was getting some experience, and then boom, he's out. And all of a sudden, you're at a point where, he has to take time off, and then he's coming back, and he has to ramp back up. instead of keeping the momentum from the game to game. Like, hey, these are the mistakes I made. I need to clean it up going into the next game and keep making mistakes. That's what rookies do. They're going to make mistakes, but it's just staying on the field. So I think the hip injury is a massive deal when you think about his development. And we're not able to see him make mistakes, get better next week. Make mistakes, get better next week. Just like at the end of the game management, right? He tries to get extra yards, which is cool. You're trying to get some extra yards at the end of the game. But when he took off and ran, there was a moment where he had a decision. Am I going to cut toward the sideline around this guy, or am I going to cut inside and get extra yards? You got to cut to the sideline. 10 times out of 10, you're cutting to the sideline and stopping the clock. Because then at the end of the game, right, everything goes the same way it goes. You end up at the end of the game, we're able to get that spike off at the end of the game. And it gives us a chance. Now, they ended up giving us 1 second and we called a terrible play anyways. But it's those small things, right? And he's throwing in the middle of the field. He was throwing in the middle of the field on that drive. And it's like, bro, I know they're going to defend the sideline, but one, plays got to be drawn up better for that situation. Two, Anthony's got to learn. And that's part of his development. Again, rookies are going to make mistakes. He's still technically kind of a rookie, right? I think that was, his 10th start in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. So still not even a full season's worth of experience there. So I don't want to give up on him. But something's failing somewhere. Something's failing somewhere. Coaches, and I'm tired of hearing Shane say, I got to be better. Yeah, you do, bro. You do. In the week as you're preparing, you have to be better. You got to get your quarterback more prepared. And from Anthony's standpoint, bro, you got to be better. But again, like, I don't, and this isn't me coddling AR. Like, obviously, he needs to be better. He wasn't perfect today, but he's not getting enough help. And you can't throw the ball 32 times with Anthony Richardson. Like, even if we're getting blown out, we need to run the ball. From game to game to game to game to game, we need to stop, which they're never going to do. It's not the way the NFL works. It's the way I wish it would. Like, stop worrying about winning and develop your quarterback. You know what I mean? And in order for him to develop, you have to use his legs while he's trying to figure out the passing, right? So, and what I mean by that, right, he's such a dynamic runner. Last week was the first time in an NFL game where he ran the ball 10 or more times. That's not okay. In this game, 6 carries, 45 yards. A lot of that was on that run there at the end of the game. Jonathan Taylor had 20 carries for 105 yards in this game. What are we doing running the ball 26 times? You know, like, there are just so many things that just don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The development of AR doesn't make sense. And I don't want to put it on him. The injuries are a problem. And again, stopping his development. But right now, I just feel like a part of me feels like a dummy, right? Because I've been behind this coaching staff and I've tried telling people, we have good coaching. AR's just got to develop. And as the weeks go on, it's getting harder and harder to continue to say that it's all on AR. I think that the team around him is failing him from coaching to players. Wide receivers have been inconsistent outside of Josh Downs. Josh Downs is great. We can depend on Josh Downs. He'll sell out. Okay? If you weren't in the stream, not sell AD on the sideline, that ball that he reached his hand out for, if he dives, he catches that. Guess who else dove for balls in the past? Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. I grew up watching guys like that, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, all the greatest receivers I grew up watching sold out for the quarterbacks because it meant winning. But now these guys are so soft coming up. Oh, if I dive for the ball, I'm going to land and it's going to hurt my chest and my ribs. Oh, no, it's going to knock the wind out of me. It's time, but Josh Downs doesn't care. Josh Downs is a dog, and Josh Downs is the best receiver we have. Pitt needs to get traded. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Pitt needs to get traded. And we need to do something. We need to do something. Like, is trading Pitt the right thing to do? Probably not. Sure, Anthony needs to get him the ball right. Numbers are going to be down for wide receivers when your quarterback is only completing 10 passes a game. But, like, yeah, Pitt's not a number one. He's not getting paid like a number one, but we don't have a number one. And I thought AD was going to come in and be able to be that guy, but AD obviously has some development that needs to happen. Right? He can get open so easily. But he can't get the ball in his hands. Excuse me. And it's just ugly. So looking at the numbers here, again, 10 for 32, 175, a touchdown and an interception, ugly interception by AR, which really was a huge deal in the grand scheme. If we punt on that drive, it's 2020 and we're going to overtime, right? So yeah, that was a bad interception. Bad interception. Jonathan Taylor, the lone bright spot for us today, 20 for 105. Even Big Q, Quentin Nelson, ends up with 3 false start penalties. Like, what are we doing, bro? Like, some days it's Murphy's Law. And today it was Murphy's Law for the offense. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And it was like that all day for the offense, right? Josh Downs, 4 for 109 and touchdown. He was incredible. So I say John Taylor, not the lone bright spot, but you know what I'm saying. Those two. I thought EJ Speed played really well. Zaire in coverage. I can't take it anymore. He's the captain. He can't be on the field on passing downs. You can't have Zaire makes the defense worse when teams have to pass the ball. He does. That's the fact of the matter, and he has to start coming off the field. Now, unfortunately, Jalen Carley's is not going to be back. He's on the IR, so it's hard. It's hard to do that and take him off the field right now. But sorry, got some updates. Bo Nix making some plays. That's good. We got to do. Yeah, Zaire can't be on the field in passing situations. I'm done with it, man. I'm tired of holding my tongue. Like, I want to be cool, and I'm doing this, and I'm starting to build the brand and an audience, and the channel's getting big. Like, I don't want any of the players to end up maybe hearing a clip of something I said at some point hating me. But dude, you just can't keep guys on the field that can't cover. You can't. Our secondary is so much better right now than we thought it would be. Jalen Jones, cornerback, one of the future. Samuel Womack, hopefully we sign him for a long-term deal. He's been really good for us. And we have Kenny. The secondary's been so much better than we thought, but we let tight ends kill us. We let guys in the middle. We can't guard the middle of the field in the pass game, and it's a problem. It is a massive issue. Right, and again, it's not all the defense. What happened today is not the defense's fault. What happened in the second quarter is partly the defense's fault. Again, we had negative 13 yards of offense in the second quarter, so the offense not helping the defense and vice versa. But it was just like, you just have to be better. Donnie, appreciate you stopping by. I'll talk to you later, brother. Appreciate you in here. But it has to be better, and you have to play better as a team. Special teams was not good today. Rigo was out kicking his coverage. We let up the big kickoff return to start the game. Yeah, Steven, I agree, man. Which I'm gonna have a video. I don't know if it's gonna be today or tomorrow. We are doing another video about that. And trust me, I'm right there with you. You got to have a safety, another safety. I stopped myself. I don't know if we had Travis Kelce, is Anthony Richardson gonna use him? Anthony Richardson only looks 15 yards and down, and that's part of somebody, which is where we come back to. It's all a cycle. I start talking about one thing and it comes back to another. Where's the coaching and telling Anthony, next week, or this week of practice, the coaching all week in practice. If Anthony throws a ball more than 10 yards downfield, it's a 15-yard flag setting the offense back. That's where I'm at. Anthony needs to learn to look short. You have a second and a half to look downfield and dissect, okay, are my guys going to be open downfield? Am I taking this shot? If not, then I need to look at either my tight end or my running back. We have to do something and start to hold him accountable in practice so that he understands, hey, man, it's okay if we only get 4 yards on this play on first down. It's okay. And again, he doesn't even have a full season of experience yet, right? 10 games, I believe it is, that he started. So he doesn't have a full season of experience. But it's also some of those mental things, right? When you talk about mental reps, and it's one thing to get mental reps and one thing to actually get the reps in live time, right? So I don't want to harp too much on mental reps because I don't know how much you really get from mental reps. They say that's coach talk BS. Just so I'm throwing that out there. That's coach talk. But yeah, everything I want to say about Anthony, like, it comes back to coaching. Like, what are we doing coaching wise that we're not seeing him get better at the small things? He's better in second. Yeah, he's been better in the second half each of the last 2 games. And that's where, again, going back to coaching, like, we coming out throwing the ball 7 times on the opening drive. When you have Jonathan Taylor coming back, what are we doing? You don't need to make it complicated. You know, like, come out in the first half and call a good game. You don't have to wait till the second half to call a better game. Like, the plays that we ran and the first drive in the second half, I thought the play calling was incredible. I thought Shane did a good job, at least on those first couple plays. It was like he was running plays to help the quarterback. You need more plays that are going to help your quarterback out. And you need to run the ball more. Richardson gave Houston this game. Listen, you think Richardson gave him the game? AD, that catch on the sideline, he needs to know where his feet are. AR had a perfect pass in the bucket to Tyler Goodson, and he dropped it. And it's stuff like that. People keep blaming AR for this and that. There are different moments where AR makes a bad pass, is inaccurate here, makes a bad decision there. I can't say it enough. He's not getting help. He is not getting help. The organization is failing him, which is extremely disappointing, man. Came into this season thinking, man, AR, what we saw last year, coming into this season, he's going to be okay. He's grown mentally. He's grown physically. He's going to be able to figure it out as the season goes. And by the end of the season, we'll be able to sneak in as a wild card team and maybe make a run. And that's just not the case. The interception was Shane's fault. Now, Anthony Richardson makes the decision to throw it. So there's that. But if you look, they showed the replay. We had 5 wide, and all of them ran short routes. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? We're not even going to try? At least just have one guy go down the field and say, hey, I'm going to let this guy go down the field. Just throw it out of bounds. We'll punt it from here. Take this thing into the second half. We get the ball back in the second half, but instead we end up giving up 7 points on what should have been, by the way, pass interference on Tank Dell. I don't know how the ref is right there and doesn't see the straight arm, right? They showed that replay, straight arm. Not catching that, so they get 7 points, which was massive. Again, that second quarter, without that, right? If we don't throw that interception, they don't score that touchdown, we still play terrible in the second quarter, lose that quarter 7-0. But by the end of the game, and Texans would have played it differently there at the end of the game. But nonetheless, you take those 7 points away, we win the game 20-16. Yeah, exactly. He should have had more carries. Exactly. Should have had more carries. So feel like I keep running in circles here with what I'm saying. I want to go over some of these stats, and then I'll go through the comments. I've missed a lot from you guys. I see a lot of you guys in here, though. Some people that I don't typically see, but I appreciate all you guys stopping here. You guys are doing a great job in the chat. I appreciate you guys. You know, Jay, Donnie already left, but I see Alval in here, Zombie, Spooks Hill, Joe. Appreciate you coming. Veldrin stopping in. Steven. Appreciate you guys stopping in. Brandon in here. Kenny, if you're still in here, appreciate you. Alex. Ray. Ed. Yeah, appreciate you guys stopping by. Joseph in here. Appreciate you. Velocity. I assume that's how that's supposed to be said. But yeah, I'll go through comments in just a second. CJ Stroud. 25 of 37, 285. And what killed us there was just the dump downs, man. Checking it down to Jonathan Taylor. Or not Jonathan Taylor, I'm sorry. Looking at comments while I'm trying to talk. Dump downs to Joe Mixon, right? Mixon ends up with 4 catches, 32 yards, right? And all of them were effective. A lot of dump downs, like the short game. They did the play action this way, roll out to the opposite way, throw a 5-6 yard out, whatever it is. They ran that play 4 or 5 times, and we couldn't stop it. Now, there was 2 of them, I think, that they didn't get because C.J. Stroud had bad throws. But nonetheless, they just kept running the same stuff, and we couldn't stop it. Joe Mixon, we ended up not being able to stop it. 25 carries, 102 yards. Stephon Diggs walks off with that knee injury. 5 catches for 81 yards. He was the leader for them. Once again, can't stop tight ends. 4 catches for 52 for Dalton Schultz in this game. Man. Just Will Anderson had a big-time impact on this game between the pressures that he had and making things uncomfortable for AR, plus his tackling, his sack, tackle for loss. Devin White, his first game with the Texans, he had a pretty big impact. Texans defense played well. Like, I don't want to sit here and say it's all the Colts' fault. Like, you got to give the Texans credit. Their defense played well. I think it's been pretty clear that DeMeco Ryans, whatever he does on defense, does not match up well with what Shane does on offense. Shane, his worst games as the offensive play caller for us are against the Texans. We're able to put points on the board, and I'll continue to echo this sentiment. We can be absolutely garbage on offense and figure out a way to put up 20 points. We did it again, right? Which is the great thing about Shane, is that one way or another we're going to figure it out and how to put points on the board. But the matchup with DeMeco Ryans and what DeMeco Ryans is able to do against the offense and the way he plays the offense, and it makes Shane call the offense a certain way because of how he plays us, and it just doesn't go well, right? We've played the Texans twice this year. We've lost by a total of 5 points. It's close games, right? But DeMeco is just outdoing Shane, right? And DeMeco plays us in a way that makes Anthony Richardson throw the ball 32 times, and Jonathan Taylor only runs 20 times. And you just can't have it, man. Like, going forward, there should never be a game where the rest of the season, I don't care if we're getting blown out. There should not be a game for the rest of the season. He should not throw the ball any more than 25 times. Shouldn't. Okay? And between Jonathan Taylor himself should get at least 25 carries a game. The other running backs should combine to help us carry the ball 35 to 40 times a game. That is the formula for this iteration of the Colts, is to run the ball 35 to 40 times a game and throw the ball 20 to 25 times a game. That's it. That's the game plan every week. Okay, at this point, we know who we are. The game plan videos aren't even going to really be a thing because, excuse me, the game plan is going to be the same for the offense every week. Run the ball 35 to 40 times. Pass the ball 20 to 25. You have to do that to take pressure off of your quarterback. Got to take pressure off Anthony Rich. He's struggling, man. He's struggling, and he needs help from the guys that are in charge. You have to help him. While he works through all his struggles and while he's trying to figure out how to be an NFL quarterback, you have to help him. And we're just not doing that. We're just not helping our quarterback out right now, and it's extremely disappointing, man. It's extremely disappointing. Somebody that has so much ability, and I just feel like we're letting him down. So hopefully things can get turned around. And this is why I keep talking about, like, it would be a perfect time to have a bye week. Last couple weeks, AR has not looked good. This is where you need a bye week to settle down, get a good week of work in, work on the fundamentals. But we have a week 14 bye. By the time we get to our bye week, our season's probably over. And which is tough. If you get a bye week right now, you look at all the bad stuff that's happened. You can do all the self-evaluation and go in and start to work on the fundamentals. You don't have to have a week of practice, right? And practice a segment. On Wednesdays, they're working on first and second down. On Thursdays, they're working on third down. On Fridays, they're working on red zone, right? Like, it's segmented out like that, and you can't really work on the fundamentals. It's the bye week where you get to work on those sorts of things, and we don't have it till week 14, which is tough. So everybody's going to say, let's get Flacco in there, and I get it. Like, and I just see Steven. I just saw your comment saying the same thing. People calling for Flacco, and you have Matt Richardson let him come in for a play. Yeah. So I feel better if Flacco's in there too, but I want to feel better about our future. I want to feel better next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. Right? It's the development that has to happen, and I keep coming back to, he has to struggle. We knew it was going to be a struggle coming into the NFL. We knew he was going to struggle, and okay, so I forgot it was late. Sco out there in Italy. I appreciate you coming by for the game, brother. Appreciate you stopping by for the post game. Appreciate you, and I'll see you for the videos. We'll have content all week. You have a good night, brother. But yeah, man, it's disappointing. It's just a disappointing day. Disappointing day to be a Colts fan. Everything that we pour into our fandom for us to come out and look like that is an insult to Colts Nation, man. Insult to Colts Nation. And yeah, so I'm gonna start going through these comments real quick, just in case you might be new here or don't really come by all the time. Look at this thing, man. This from Green Gridiron. If you want something like this, or customize your own mini helmet, or get your own big helmet, whatever you want, the description is in the link for Green Gridiron. For my referral link is in the description. Use that referral link if you're ever going to go on there, so that they know I sent you. It'll always be in the description on this channel. I really enjoy that one, man. Really enjoy that. Great for a gift. You know, I have a couple of mini helmets that I've gotten as gifts, and now I got one that's kind of pimped out a little bit. All right, so let's go through. I want to look at some of these. I feel like AR was set up today. Commentary was so biased. Tiki Barber hates the Colts. That's just a simple fact of the matter. Tiki Barber hates the Colts. I don't know why they put him on Colts coverage. Because it's the same thing every time. He hates the Colts, man. And he loves D'Amico Ryans, and he wants D'Amico Ryans to be the best coach to ever live. Like, Tiki Barber needs to never call another Colts game. Absolutely. I think the flags were kind of biased too. I think there were a lot of missed calls on the Texans, and I think there were some BS calls for the Colts. You can sit here and say that I'm biased saying that, but I saw it. I saw it. There was an offensive pass interference on us that they called that wasn't really a pass interference. We just had good play design and made everybody run into each other. There was a pass interference that didn't get called, turned into a touchdown for the Texans. Like, yeah, there was a lot of bias in this game. I should have never taken himself out of the game, and I'm gonna have a separate video. I want to do my own, a video by itself on AR pulling himself out of the game. My thoughts on AR. There's a lot to be said with that, so I'm gonna do a separate video on the AR thing. Trust, we are gonna talk about that. Now, it's not gonna be good. I'm not gonna let him off the hook for that. That's some real bitch shit. I'm not supposed to say that on this channel. That's the only way to describe it. You can't do it. You got to be a big boy. Pull your big. I almost did it again. You got to pull your big boy pants up and go back in the huddle. You're not hurt. You can't tap. You're the quarter. You're not allowed to tap yourself out. You're a quarterback, bro. You can't tap yourself out. And like, I've watched the Pat McAfee show every day for like 6 years, whatever, since they were in the basement. I've been watching Pat McAfee show for a long time. It's 2018 actually, wasn't it? So it's been a long time. I'm so scared to watch Pat McAfee show because that's all they're going to talk about is AR pulling himself out and how trash he is. 10 for 32, his completion percentage. Like, I just don't want to hear it. You know, as a Colts fan, I just don't want to hear it. But they're not wrong. The play calling in this game. Call a comeback, almost get picked. Then you call another comeback. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that play calling, the comebacks, 2 plays in a row. You basically, for the most part, ran the same play 2 plays in a row. And the second one gets picked, it turns into a touchdown. So, yeah, play calling was trash. Didn't run until the third. Yeah, exactly. Third quarter is when the play started. And same as last week. Which is where, like, you can say all you want about AR. Shane has to call the better plays or hand it off. At this point, like, I like Shane as a head coach, and I think his messaging is good. It's just, as a play caller, he's regressing. And at some point, you have to do something different. Does he not think that Jim Bob Cooter can handle play calling duties in the NFL? If so, then why would you make him your offensive coordinator just in case of the situation where you want to hand it off? You need a better, like, we got to do something. But Shane has regressed. His regression is making Anthony regress. And it's starting to, it's getting worse. It's damaging our future. And Shane has to get his head out of his you-know-what, and he has to start calling better plays. He has to start calling better game. He has to call better games, okay? Because there is a difference. It's kind of cliche now, but there's a difference between calling plays and calling games. So you can look at a play sheet, say, okay, 1st and 10, let's just eeny, meeny, miny, mo, boom, let's pick that. Like, you can do that, or you can have a plan in mind. Okay, this is how we want to. These are plays I want to call to set it up for this in the 3rd and 4th quarter. And maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe that's why we've been better in the second half offensively over the last couple of weeks. But you got to come out and you got to start better. Again, we're 10-3 in that first quarter, right? That big play to Josh Downs. Outside of that big play to Josh Downs, we were terrible in the first half overall. But that big play helped us in the second quarter. Again, minus 13 total yards of offense. Like, it's just the inconsistency from the entire team is crazy. That's a big word, man. Consistency. Whether you're talking football, whether we're talking about our lives, right? Being more consistent in the things in our life, whatever it is, consistency is a big word. And this team doesn't have it. And it's frustrating to watch. Tired of old QB's insanity. Yup, agreed. 0 running back screen. Yeah, we had the 1 running back screen on the first drive. There was 1 screen to JT, and he got like 15 yards, and then we didn't do it again. If you're not going to run the ball 40 times, you need more extension of the run game type plays. Now, I don't know Jonathan Taylor's a better receiver than people give him credit for. Jonathan Taylor does well in the screen game. Jonathan Taylor does well coming out of the backfield, and we just don't use him like that. And again, part of that is AR and AR only looking down the field. But it's also just like I don't think we draw it up enough to get JT in those favorable situations. He's the best player on the team. You have to. Like, I hated Frank Reich. I got to the point of hating Frank Reich, especially as a play caller. But he knew you got to give JT 30 to 35 touches a game, and you'll win. It's as simple as that. You paid the guy to be your best player and help carry the offense while your quarterback figures it out, and then you don't use him. Like, what's the point of paying JT if you're not going to use him? That's just where I come back to, you know. Away from a $350 parlay. Oh, boy. Golden, bro. That sucks. I'm so sorry. I hope you didn't lose a lot on that. That's crazy. 5 yards shy. That's how I am with betting, though, man. Like, I'll either get really, really close, or it'll be everything I put on a parlay, the exact opposite happens. Even though it makes no sense that happened, the exact opposite will happen. AR needs help from the coaching staff. Yeah, we've talked plenty about that. Inaccurate. Yeah, there were parts of both halves where AR was inaccurate. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, he was on the money. Like that first drive, the only inaccurate ball that he had, I believe, was the one to Mo Alley Cox. He tried to throw one up to Mo Alley Cox, so Mo Alley Cox could just go up and contest. It's 6'6". He's going up against a corner or safety, but Anthony didn't put enough on it. He should have put it down the field a little more, and Mo would have been able to go up and get it. And I think that's part of his development too. There were a couple of those in this game where he was trying to throw it down the field, and he wasn't throwing it far enough. I think he's still trying to learn how to take some off the ball, right? He throws the ball so hard, just like Josh Allen. He throws the ball so hard, he's got to learn how to take it off and put that touch on it to get it to the right spot. And that's what I saw a couple times in this game. Some of his inaccurate balls he's trying to figure it out. He's trying to give his guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" a chance to go up and make a play, but he's not putting enough under it. So, you know, a little give and take. He's got to learn that, and that's part of his development, and that's part of the inaccuracy issues. And there were really, like, I think in terms of, like, really inaccurate balls today, maybe, like, 2 or 3, 4 max. I know there was a couple. I say a couple. There was 4, 5, 6 where he was getting hit as he threw. One where, actually, I'll talk about it in a minute. And those passes, like, when he's getting hit as he's throwing the ball, that's obviously inaccurate, right? And those count as incompletions. Where I talk about penalties, I'm not just being biased. There was, if you remember, Tom Brady is the reason a rule got changed, right? When Tom Brady tore his ACL, Dolphins player was on the ground, right? Got pushed to the ground and then got himself up and lunged himself up enough and lunged himself at Tom Brady's knees. Changed football forever in the NFL. You're not allowed to go directly at a quarterback's legs. Danico Autry, former Colt, gets pushed to the ground, lunges directly at Anthony Richardson's legs, and they don't call a penalty. That one fell just short. It was just short. It would have been a first down. I think it was maybe A.D. Mitchell he was throwing to, maybe. And it was a good comeback route. He was open. But the ball wasn't able to get there because he couldn't step into the throw. He couldn't put enough behind it. Danico Autry didn't get called for the penalty there. That's what I'm talking about. We had to play the Texans and the refs today. Which was frustrating overall. Anthony doesn't get penalties. It's just like Cam Newton. He's not getting penalties because of his size and because of how bruising he is. He's not getting penalties, and he should. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know some Panthers fans. Some of my best friends are Panthers fans, and they used to talk about that all the time about how, you know, Cam should have gotten this penalty. Cam should have gotten that penalty, and he just doesn't get them because he's Cam Newton. AR, we've already seen multiple Bo Nix is going off right now, by the way. But yeah, we're seeing Anthony Richardson not get calls. That can't be the future of big athletic quarterbacks. It just can't. You have to call the penalties when they're penalties. You know, it's like whatever ref crew was there today, that was one of the worst ref jobs of all time. Calling penalties that aren't penalties, missing penalties. And listen, I was on the stream. When we did do something wrong, I was like, oh, okay, he did do that. Right? Like, I'm not opposed to saying, yeah, we did commit a penalty. But it's whoever was there today, the refs today should never be allowed to ref ever again. It's so bad. Just like the Vikings game on Thursday, man. How do you miss that? Those back judges should never coach another or should never ref another NFL game. You can't miss that. It's right in front. You are looking right at it. How are you missing it? And then the Kenny, right? Oh my God! Oh no! It's an incomplete pass. We're off the field. Give me the flag, ref, and he gives him a flag. What? What? It was like 8 seconds after the play was over that the flag came out. You know, like that was the discrepancy today. I couldn't believe it, man. Let's see. They are inaccurate. Coaching staff selling. You're not wrong. Bathroom break. How can you not get the Hail Mary pass off? Yeah, not getting the Hail Mary pass off. How do you not defend against that? I don't know. Man. Just all around bad by the offense today, man. In every way, shape, and form. Yeah, because even Alec, right? Alec should have had a touchdown. That pass interference that they called on Alec that was actually Pitt, that wasn't actually a penalty anyways. It was a good play design. For everything I've said about Shane right here, that was a good play design. It worked exactly how it was supposed to, and Pierce was wide open for a touchdown, but he did drop one or two balls today, so Josh Downs was really the only receiver that we could depend on. Seeing AR tap out made you mad? Yeah, me too, brother. Yeah. Again, we'll talk about it. That's going to be its own video. I can't believe that happened. Yeah, well, not only not playing much in college, Al, but he didn't play much in high school either. That's really our issue. Is that we drafted a guy that doesn't have very much quarterback experience in his entire life. So there's a lot to learn, but like we've seen enough to know that he can do it. But the coaching and his own ability, his development isn't there right now. But the only way to get better is to play, man. The only way to get better is to play, which is frustrating. We talked about it. There are going to be these frustrating days, and he's going to make us lose our minds sometimes, but it has to happen. If we're going to be better in the future, it has to happen now. And again, it's frustrating because last year was supposed to be the big development year, and then we move on from there. And now this year, that feeling has extended into this year, and now we're ready to win, man. It's been so long since we were consistent winners. We just, as a fan base, we want to win. And it's difficult right now because Anthony is still kind of in his rookie season. It's maddening. But it's got to happen. We're going to have days like this, but this is therapy session for me and for you guys. Because I was upset. I was upset during the game. And obviously have some type of way about it right now. So we just got to be better, man. We need to see improvement. We can't go backwards. We have to see improvement, which is what is frustrating right now. We're not seeing improvement from the offense as a whole and from Anthony, right? And again, it all goes hand in hand. Football is the most team game of all the team games out there, right? Like 11 guys have to do their job perfectly for it to work. You need the coaches to put you in the right position to win and to succeed from play to play, drive to drive, quarter to quarter, half to half, game to game. And right now we're just not getting the job done. Score doesn't tell a story. Yeah, we played bad today. Defense was up and down. Defense played terrible in the second quarter. Outside of the second quarter, we gave up 9 points today. So I don't want to harp on the defense. They gave up 363 yards, but only gave up 23 points. Not all their fault, right? 7 of those points because of the turnover that turned into a touchdown. So, yeah, defense did their thing. That is all. Yeah. Players do things, but Richardson should not do that on a critical play. Yeah, well, Al, players take themselves out, but not quarterbacks. You're not allowed to do that as a quarterback. And it's going to be interesting to see how the team reacts, how the coaching staff reacts to that. And, again, we'll have a video on that. I have a lot of thoughts about that. Trade Flacco to the Browns? Not right now. Because if it continues to get worse, we might need Flacco to come in and steer the ship. You know what I mean? Hope it doesn't get to that, but, again, we'll talk more about that later. He's not ready. Needs more coaching. He doesn't need to sit. Flacco, da-da-da. He lost to the Jags, yeah. Okay, this season knowing it was a throwaway. Oh, win Super Bowl. He needs to develop. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Thank you, Sam. We know. Hey, thank you, Sam. You know what's up. What'd Sam say? Yeah, that's right. Yep. Sorry, sitting here looking through. You guys are still coming in with the comments. Sitting here just trying to make sure I get to everything for you guys. Yeah, that game next week against that Vikings. Now, the Vikings defense has been exposed over the last couple weeks, so maybe we can take advantage of some of the things that other teams have been able to take advantage of. But we play like we did today on offense, we're going to get the doors blown off of us in prime time next week. I still don't know why they put us there. It should have been the Packers-Lions, but whatever. Now we're going to have to wait all day to watch football or to watch our team, which we will be live here during the game. At some point, my roommates will go to sleep, so I can't be as hyped next week for the game as I normally am. But nonetheless, we will be live for the next week's game and all the games after that. So if you're chilling and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, have notifications on. Gonna have plenty. I got a bunch of video ideas coming up this week, plus the normal updates that we do, plus going live for the games. So I like hearing from you guys, whether it's comments on videos or in the chat here on live streams. Love hearing from you guys. Come out and play. Be hurt for weeks again. Vikings, Lions, and Bills are going to destroy. Yeah, our schedule. I was hoping we could win this game and show that we're a competent team. But we have 4 more games. Well, I guess the Jets lost to the Patriots. Jets look like they're pretty bad. So Aaron Rodgers 1-3 against the Colts all the time. So maybe we can win that Jets game. But we have a tough stretch coming up. Really needed to win this game. Yeah, Q, a lot of people dropping passes today. That's what I'm trying to say. Anthony didn't get help. He's 10 for 32. He probably should have been at least 20 for 32. You think about the drops. Tyler Goodson in the end zone. AD not getting his feet in bounds. The other drops that happened. Could have easily have been 20 for 32 today. Must finish every quarter. Air might be the truth, but he ain't good QB yet. Yup. Tired that we can't even win the division. Yeah, we're not winning. This was it. If we won this game, maybe we have a chance at the division. We lose this game. We're 2 games back. They own the tiebreaker. And, yeah, we're pretty screwed in terms of the division at this point. Texans W. We got Cam. That's a quarterback. Howard deserves to be benched. That's what he deserves. So that's tough. Talking about drafting a quarterback next year. Like, if we keep winning, do we draft a quarterback? That's going to be quite the conversation in the offseason. Because I do like Cam Ward also. Just to throw that out there. How long do you give AR? That's tough, man. Because of his injury last year, right? You would have hoped he had a season last year, and then comes into this year, you give him the entire season this year, and then be able to evaluate whether or not he's improving in certain areas. But like imagine if the Bills gave up on Josh Allen. I don't know if you guys remember how bad Josh Allen was early. But, I mean, everybody said the Bills should give up on him early, and they didn't. They tried to build the team around him, and they did. And now Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And he has a litany more of experience coming into the NFL than AR did. But it's the same principle, right? Like, not giving up on a guy. So that's a tough question. And there's really not a correct answer to the question of how long do you give AR. Right? And I mean, I guess there is an, like, you're not going to sit here and give him, 5 years of mediocre football. At some point you have to be able to pull that trigger, but you have to keep letting him go through the ugly so that he can figure it out. And I think today's one of those days, right? Today's the day where he didn't get the help, but there were some bad decisions on his part, some bad throws on his part, where it's a good learning lesson, right? These are all good learning lessons. For as ugly as it is and for as frustrated as we are about the process and how it's going, these are great learning opportunities from a young man that wants to be great, which is where I stay with ARs, because he has the drive to be great. It's just about doing it and putting it all to work, right? You have to create good habits through practice and create good habits through the teachings and then make it work on Sunday. And now, unfortunately, excuse me, AR was hurt last year. Well, came into the NFL, right? From college to the NFL, he has to train for the combine and the mini camps. He didn't really have time to work on what he needed to work on while he was training for the combine. So then you have this year where he gets hurt last year, goes through rehab, has to do rehab through part of his offseason instead of trying to get better at certain things through his offseason. He hasn't had a real offseason. So what I really want is for him to play out the year. And even if he didn't play out the year, right? If it continues to be bad and they wanted to put Flacco in, then you go into the offseason where he's healthy. And, I mean, as soon as day one of the offseason, let's start working on the fundamentals. Let's start working on the things that you need to work on to get better, and then come into next season with a full offseason of working on things that he needs to get better at, right? It's like just like momentum with, what I was talking about earlier with the hip injury and how he was getting experience, then boom, hip injury happens. Now he's missing a couple games and has to ramp himself back up. Right? And it's the same way for going into the offseason. You want him to go into the offseason healthy so that you can work on things. Like, it's hard to work on things in season because of how the weeks are regimented between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and working on certain things with the team. In the offseason, he can work on things as an individual and to really start to hone things in so that he can be better for us as we go forward. So that's where I'm at with that situation, and with AR, and how long do you give him? Like, again, you see what if he continues to not improve through the season. I'm okay with putting Joe Flacco in, and then we'll see what happens next year with AR. But he should be the starting quarterback week 1 next season, is my opinion on that. O-line didn't play great. Now they do have a really stout front four over there. Get to Neil Hunter, drafting Will Anderson. They have some really big guys inside that are able to push guys around and make it hard in the run game. So again, you have to give Texans credit too for everything we say about how bad we were today. You got to give credit to the Texans for just outplaying us. You know what I mean? But offensive line, definitely not the best day for the offensive line today. If we don't see improvement from AR after next season, like through next season, then it's cooked. Then it's cooked. You go in a different direction. AR, instead of improving, is getting worse. Yeah, if AR doesn't get better, draft another QB. As much time as Daniel Jones. Yeah. Seemed very shady with the refs today. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Tank Dell touchdown was very clearly a push off, but that's okay that you don't want to think so. I mean, in the replay, very clearly, straight arm. Like, I mean, as straight as his arm could go, it was a straight arm. I just don't know how else to tell you that. It was very clearly a push off. Peyton was already pretty good. We're mad at this guy. NFL fishing has been against this for years. NFL isn't going to do anything about it. Yep. We drafted a freak athlete, but this is the NFL and it's a business. 100%. AR can be a good tight end. Come on, bro. Yeah. Air should be getting 80 plus rushing yards a game since he can't complete. Right, which is what you look at early on when Lamar Jackson took over for Joe Flacco in Baltimore. Right, they used his legs early on. And I mean, even still, the Bills still use Josh Allen's legs and Josh knows when to use his legs, right? That's part of a quarterback's development, is knowing when you need to run and when you need to use your legs. That's part of the development. Right now, AR is just not. He's not being put in situations that are going to make him successful, which comes down to coaching. Let's see. Does he have the mind to be good? Man, he had a great football mind. Wasn't real athletic. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, Jim, to be completely honest with you. I know he talks about having the drive to succeed and puts in the work. His teammates and coaches talk about the work that he puts in and trying to get better. Just got to be able to see it on Sundays, man, which is why, again, I think he needs a full off season, a real off season. Right, where he doesn't have to rehab. He doesn't have to train for the combine. He doesn't have anything. He just goes into the offseason able to work on the things that he knows he needs to work on. You can say, yeah, okay, so yeah, Al, as I'm scrolling down here, you're talking about giving the Texans defense some credit. You're absolutely right. I think I just went too far down. AR gets overhated. 100% he gets overhated, man. 100%. Like, people just like to jump on that train. Like, I understand what people are saying, but dude just turned 22 years old. I can't express enough how young he is. Anybody that is 25 or older understands the kind of development that happens as a man when you're going through your early 20s, man. Like, it's tough. He's probably in his head all the time thinking, oh, these people hate me. These people think I'm terrible. Like, it's the human element of things, right? So, AR hasn't been great, but people aren't giving him much of a chance. Goes on one. AR gets overheated. Allen was never this bad. Josh Allen's completion percentage in his first 200 passes was like 53%, which is him and AR basically the same through their first 200 passes. Like, Josh Allen was pretty bad early on. Of his passes. CJ over AR, clearly, I think that was pretty clear last year. I think we can beat the Jets. Jets just lost to the Patriots, so I hope we can beat the Jets. But I don't honestly know the answer to that, man. Don't honestly know. I hope we can win, but it's tough. At what point? It's not giving him a break. Ask me anything. I don't really have questions for a Texans fan, to be honest with you. I think you guys are pretty straightforward. You got a good coach, a good quarterback. You built in the offseason around your quarterback. Joe Mixon has been huge for that team, so I don't really have any questions. You guys are pretty straightforward. Y'all destroyed our left guard and got him benched today. Yeah, the interior of our line did well, but we really couldn't get much of a pass rush. I feel like there were different times where we could get pressure on CJ and got him off the spot, but for the most part, I feel like our defensive line has been pretty disappointing this year, to be completely honest with you. What are we talking about? Yeah, the Texans lose from now on. With Flacco, we beat the Jets. With AR, we draft Archie in 2 drafts. See, I guess that could be the strategy, right? You let AR play out this year. You let AR play out next year. If it doesn't get better, we have another Manning at quarterback here in a couple years. You know? Which isn't the worst case scenario. Because bro's got wheels. Arch got some wheels on him, so I'm not going to sit here and hope for that. I would rather start winning sooner rather than later, but having another Manning in the Colts jersey would be pretty sweet. They've got Robert Woods on the bench. That's a deep. Yeah, and John Mechie, right? Doesn't get a whole lot of playing time for them either. So, yeah, they are loaded at wide receiver for sure. Gave up on the team. I've never seen it. Yeah, and again, Ginger stash. I'm gonna do my own video on the AR situation. We are gonna talk about that, but I want to put that one in its own video and give that one its own little section for us to talk about. You guys saw Flacco with a good stat sheet and a loss. They couldn't complain. Bet on it. Yeah, just like the Jaguars game, good stat sheet and a loss. Even though the loss was more the defense's fault, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I honestly thought we were going to play Flacco in the fourth. When it was time to win, we were getting the ball back with like 13 minutes to go or 12 minutes to go, something like that. I thought Flacco was going to come in, but that ended up not happening. Don't just grow on trees. Yeah. 100%. Future backup for Lamar. Damn. That's tough. For the Colts, I know that. Drafting another Manning. Slim to none in the NFL. Hey, where's one coming out soon? So somebody's gonna get him. You know, somebody's gonna get a Manning at some point. Number 31, Tyler Goodson, the same guy that dropped a pass last season when we were driving to try to beat you guys to go to the playoffs. He dropped one in the end zone today. Would have helped us win that game. Calling Sports Radio 3 weeks ago, said that Rourke from IU is a better passer for the ball than I was told. It's difficult to be good in the NFL because of talent. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, the talent in the NFL is hard. That's why you see a lot of quarterbacks that are, really good in college come to the NFL. They can't do anything, right? Matt Leinart, Jamarcus Russell. Plenty of examples. Tim Tebow was incredible at Florida, comes in unable to do much. So, yeah, there's always going to be those examples. What do we got here? Put this on the coaches, the way they are playing. Flacco should have played. Yeah. A lot of it's on the coaches. Coaches are not innocent in this. Coaches not really putting AR in position to win, not putting – which is funny. To begin the season, Gus Bradley wasn't really putting us in a position to be successful. Now it's Shane that we're talking about. And Gus and his play calls really screwed us in the second quarter on defense. But overall, we played like absolute dog crap in that second quarter and lost that quarter 14-0, which turned the entire game. It was 10-3, and it turned the entire game, which obviously that interception by AR was a big deal. But yeah, Shane's play calling today was terrible. At least y'all didn't trade for Watson. Yeah, you're exactly right. And there were Colts fans that wanted that, which is crazy. For the kind of person that he is, like I didn't want him just because of the allegations, right? Like I just don't want somebody like that on my team because I'm never going to root for him. I just wouldn't. But yeah, thank goodness we didn't trade for Deshaun Watson. Colts fans are pretty toxic. Bro, you should be on Twitter. I'm kind of glad I'm not scrolling Twitter right now. Couldn't even imagine the kinds of things that I'd be seeing on Twitter right now. Yeah, well, we're able, talking about Easton and talking about your comment there, it's like I keep saying, man, even when the offense is absolute trash, we can find a way to put up 20 points almost every game. So it's like we're always going to have a shot. It's just about execution, man. Execution. So execution and consistency, man. So all we need, execution and consistency, and we're 6-2, right? Execution and consistency, we're sitting in a better position. We just don't have it, which again comes down to coaching. The players have to play, but the coaches have a big hand in what happens there. Who's talking about Will Levis? I said we should have waited on Levis in round 2 and gotten real depth at pick 4. When Levis has 15%. Yeah. I mean, listen. I think coming out of college, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, a lot of similarities in terms of things they need to work on. Like the things that they do need to work on are a lot of the same. And I feel like Anthony has a higher ceiling. If he figures it out, he has a higher ceiling. Obviously, that is a problem right now. Where were the design? Yeah, Anthony should be carrying the ball at least 12 times a game. You got to use his legs more. You have to. I don't know. Flacco in the offense only scored 16 points against the Titans, and the Titans are absolute trash. They just let up 52 against the Lions. Like, Flacco will execute more, and he'll take what the defense gives him. But Anthony at his best is incredible. And developing into that guy is what we're really looking for, So 27 points, not for that BS interference. Yeah, exactly. The interference call on Pittman was crazy. Which I assume we kicked a field goal, right? We kicked a field goal that drive. Am I tripping? So it would have been 4 more points, but even still, we would have, if we did that, right, we would have won the game. My prediction would have been right. I predicted us to win 24-23. If we score a touchdown and kick, instead of kicking the field goal there, we do win 24-23 possibly. Which, boy, if we would have won 24-23, I would have been unbearable. If I predicted the score right, I would have been unbearable. AR can still grow. So y'all do, in my honest opinion, is bench AR, make a huge offseason coaching change. Texans, Colts aren't winning the Super Bowl. See, it's interesting that you say the Texans aren't winning the Super Bowl too. You're the kind of fan I like. You're realistic, you know. I like you, P Nasty. You're a realistic Texans fan. I think you guys can figure it out. I think you guys have a lot of injuries, key injuries right now. I think you guys have a good roster and could definitely compete. Obviously, you have to get through the Chiefs and the Ravens, but you guys can definitely compete. But I think you're right, man. You got to let them grow. It's not far off. It's just execution. That's the word of the hour. Execute, 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 execute. It's just simple execution. It's taking what the defense gives you. Somebody has to tell AR all week, like, bro, if you need to throw the ball to Jonathan Taylor 20 times, throw the ball to Jonathan Taylor 20 times. You don't need a home run every time. Jonathan Taylor is our home run hitter. We need you to be a game manager and just manage the game and keep us in it so that we have a chance to win at the end of the game. That's really where AR's development needs to come, is taking what the defense gives him. He just tries too hard to get the big play all the time. And people say he's inaccurate. And there are some inaccuracy issues. I'm not going to say there's not. But if he just takes what the defense gives him and hits the check down some more, right? You have tight ends, all these tight ends on the roster. You have Josh Downs, who's a slot guy who does a lot of underneath stuff. Jonathan Taylor out of the backfield. Like, just take it, man. You're allowed to take 5, 6, 7 yards on a play. It's okay. And that's where coaching comes in. There's obvious coaching. They're not holding him accountable enough in terms of him throwing down the field. There has to be more accountability. Just has to be. Yeah, interception was big. That's partly on AR, partly on coaching. It was a terrible play call. Everybody ran comeback routes just like the play before. Shane was not in his bag today. Saw AR give Pitt plenty of opportunities. Pitt didn't deliver. Yeah, exactly. And Pitt's supposed to be the guy. You know, I think A.D. Mitchell is so good at getting open. It's just getting the ball in his hands. Whether it's, AR and Joe Flacco, both of them have missed A.D. Mitchell when he was wide open. And they're also the ones where A.D.'s just not catching the ball. So it's a little give and take, but A.D. gets so wide open all the time. Pittman, Downs, Pierce, A.D. Mitchell. Better top 4 in the league. Well, hey, I'm just going to say Texans, when their wide receivers are healthy, are pretty good. Pretty good. What we got here? There's only Steichen wants his career tied to this awful QB. I mean, I think he did. I think that's why we drafted him, is because Steichen wanted him. Play guy who quit on his team. Yeah, and again, we'll talk about the AR quitting on his team thing and pulling himself out and how things have been going recently. I'm going to have a video by itself on AR. So if you're not subscribed, be subscribed, have notifications on, whether that's today or tomorrow, however time works. We're doing this longer than I expected to. But I'll have a video about that for sure. Should have gotten Will Anderson. They picked Will Anderson at 3. We didn't have a chance. I think you think Pittman's an AR hater. I think A.D. Mitchell hates Anthony Richardson because of week 1. Anthony overthrew a couple of balls in week 1. I think A.D. Mitchell does not like Anthony Richardson, to be completely honest with you. Beast. He gave guys shots Down. You got shots. Downs. Yeah, Downs is the guy. Downs is our best receiver. There's no doubt about it. Downs is our number one receiver. Probably won't be an all-pro, John, because it's not every week. AR's consistencies make Josh Downs inconsistent. But Josh Downs with consistent quarterback play would probably be an all-pro and Pro Bowler, yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Fear was a Texan. He'd have 30 catches, 6 touchdowns, 500 yards by now. Yeah, you're probably exactly right. With as much as he gets open, as good as CJ is, probably exactly right. Has improved a great. See, I think I've seen some development from AD too. I'm not going to sit here and say he's terrible because he's not. He just needs to be a big boy and know that he's going to take contact sometimes. And he needs to be okay with selling out for his quarterback. Josh Downs sold out for his quarterback. Right? The one that should have been a touchdown for Josh Downs. That's what I mean, selling out for your quarterback. Just like Marvin Harrison used to dive for balls and sell out for Peyton. Reggie Wayne used to dive for balls, sell out for Peyton. Dallas Clark. Brandon Stokely. Right? Like, you got to sell out for your quarterback sometimes. It's part of being a good team. Right? It's just like before Nico had CJ, nobody knew who Nico was. And without Nico, until today, CJ hadn't really been putting up good numbers without Nico. It's the combination, right? And it's just Montana Rice, right? It's like sometimes you just need a great quarterback to be with a great receiver, and it's all going to figure itself out. So, for AD, he can be great. He's somebody that, with as open as he can get, he could be wide receiver 1 in the future. We just have to be able to give him the ball. Did he or did Ballard need a reason to buy a few years? Need to take a drink of water here. Been talking, haven't taken a single drink of water. All right, let's go check on something real quick. Rico Dowdle is out. Nice, bro. Oh, he became sick when he arrived at the stadium. That's good. From Adam Schefter. I'm sorry, this is My Sports Update. Adam Schefter reposted. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson will take himself out of the game in the third quarter. Quote, tired, I ain't going to lie. That was a lot of running right there that I did. So I just told Shane I needed a break right there. Again, I'll have a video on that. Unbelievable. Dell over at the strip club. Fear no gears. Appreciate you, everybody. Yeah, hey, by the way, likes are like the best thing for the channel. Liking and subscribing, great for the channel. Man, I'm worried about Pittman, Downs, Pearson, JT, AD should be getting open because he's being covered by number 1 and number 2. I mean, that's fair. That's completely fair. I do hope we get a new GM. I'm about done with Ballard. If he doesn't do anything at the trade deadline to try to help this team, you got to do something at some point, man. I'm tired of Ballard. I've been a Ballard defender for so long, and I took so much heat for so long for defending Ballard, and I thought he'd change. Now, he drafted a young quarterback. Maybe he changes, and he's not. So, yeah, all the comments are shifting to Anthony Richardson. Like I said, I do want to do a video on that. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and get that recorded. I don't know if I drop it tonight or tomorrow. I guess it depends what time I get done with everything. So disappointing. So many of you guys been here hanging out this entire time, though, whether you're Texans fans or Colts fans. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out. Again, Green Gridiron, mini helmets, accessories, whether you want it for yourself, for the man cave, or for a gift idea with Christmas coming up. If you do go to Green Gridiron, use my referral link. Come back to the channel, use my referral link so that they know that the Colts Syndicate sent you. Any of the Texans fans, if you guys know of any Texans content creators that are up and coming that might want to be a part of the syndicate, right? We're trying to get people for every single team. If you know anybody, hey, you guys let me know. I'm at FootballsKing7 on Twitter. Feel free to hit me up anytime. I appreciate you guys so much for coming, hanging out, talking. Again, this is a therapy session for all of us, I feel like. After what we just went through, we all needed this, I think. So let's go enjoy the rest of the games. Whatever's happening, I don't know what the Sunday night game is today, but let's go out here, enjoy some football that isn't Colts football, get our minds off this thing. You guys spend time with your family or whatever it may be, and I'll talk to you guys soon, all right? Appreciate you guys so much for spending your time with me. Time is a very important thing. Appreciate you guys for spending your time with me. Make sure you subscribe with notifications on. Hit that like button for me if you enjoyed the stream. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys very shortly, all right? Much love. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.